Welcome to our online coverage of VMware Explore 2023, taking place in Las Vegas. Today, I have the pleasure of having Anthony Cusimano, who is the Chief Evangelist at Object First. How are you today?
I'm doing quite well. How are you?
Great. Maybe you can start by giving us kind of a quick overview of your company.
Yeah, so we're still fairly new. Object First came out of stealth last year in July 2022, and we've only recently launched our product in February 14th of this year, which is Ootbi, and I'm sure we'll talk all about that very soon. But the company, founded by Ratmir Timoshev, Andrei Baranov, the same two founders of Veeam, and their whole goal when they started this project 3+ years ago was how do we make the best storage for Veeam, which is, as y'all know, one of the leading data management platforms for VMware.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, maybe talk a little bit about how your company partners with or works with VMware, or it works within its the VMware ecosystem.
Yeah, that's sort of a logical question for an event like this. We are Object First, but our product is called Ootbi. And I'll spell that out, OOTBI. Ootbi stands for out of the box immutability. And it's that cool little happy face up there too. That's our little mascot. But the product itself is an on-prem object-based storage appliance that was purpose-built for Veeam. So Ratmir and Andre, when they founded this company, they said, hey, we're going to build a storage appliance that is purpose-built for a data management vendor that primarily targets the VMware workload. Our box, when racked and stacked, is designed to be incredibly simple, incredibly easy to use, but most importantly, it has to be secure. Ransomware has unfortunately not become less of a threat in the last year. And our whole game is, like the title of our product would suggest, to be immutable out of the box, to have something that when you turn it on, plug it in, set it up through a very short and easy configuration, you have an immutable backup storage target for Veeam where you can put your primary backup data and never have to worry about paying the ransom during a recovery scenario again. Ideally, the backups will be immutable for as long as you put them in there for.
And what specifically does your company offer a VMware shop or VMware implementation? What kind of problems do you solve for them? And then also, why would an attendee be interested in coming to visit you guys at your booth?
Yeah, so the average VMware user, on a good day, ideally they don't need us, right? You only need an immutable object storage target for your VMware backups when the bad stuff has hit the fan. And that's exactly why we exist, because we have designed our box to just work sort of hand in glove with Veeam. It makes it very easy for us to serve VMware admin in a recovery scenario. We've actually tuned our performance to optimize around the instant recovery use case. So let's say ransomware hits, it encrypts your entire ESX host. You got to blow it away. You got to recover it. You could easily run and restore up to 20 VMs in instant recovery on a single node of our product at a time without having any impact to performance on the storage layer. So running 20 VMs per node in instant recovery, we scale up to 4 nodes today. So my quick math says that's 80. Being able to run 80 nodes or 80 VMs on a full Ootbi cluster in the case of ransomware, obviously never an ideal situation, but certainly better than the alternative. If you don't have the immutable backup, you don't have that place to pull that data back from and keep it somewhat secure, there's no VMs in instant recovery, which is a far less ideal outcome.
Now, you touched on your technology, but maybe can you go maybe a few levels deeper into the technology and just kind of talk a little bit more about it?
Absolutely. So from a design perspective, Ootbi had to be two things. One was it had to be a physical on-premises storage appliance. And the second was it had to be object storage. So by having these two qualifiers, this sort of allowed us to very quickly discern, like, okay, if we're building for Veeam and we're in a hardware form factor, what is the average Veeam user butting up against when it comes to their network throughput, their storage switches? We kind of got a good idea of the typical Veeam admin and the VMware admin's environment. We got the right hardware spec for the right price that, we think, okay, this will fit in their environment fairly easily. This is going to be something that, you'll see this in the demo, can be configured in a matter of minutes. The hardest part, and this comes off as a joke, but it's impacted me personally. The hardest part about our appliance is actually lifting the box. It's very heavy, and it's quite dangerous if you don't have a friend to help you put that thing in the rack. But, from a hardware perspective, it was truly designed sort of thinking about both the price and the performance of what people need when it comes to an on-prem storage target. The second part I mentioned is that object storage layer. Now, the cool thing about being a startup is you have to start from scratch. So we are doing S3 object storage, but we've written it all ourselves. So in the last 3 years, when we started working on this project, we were actually aware of some of the limitations that exist with current object storage vendors, even like some of the original object storage vendors. For example, you have too many small objects in a bucket. We're talking like in the millions, but it can break the bucket. And we knew about these limitations going in, and our developers were able to code up from scratch all new source code that does the object storage use case, aware of the limitations that exist in some of the other vendors out there. This also gave us the advantage, again, because we knew we were going to tie it to Veeam, to optimize around the Veeam use case. So in Veeam version 12, which also came out February 14th, the same day we launched, they announced their version 12 SOS, or Smart Object Storage API, which is how Veeam users can write direct to object storage targets. It's fast. It's a really solid API, and it's secure. And they kind of knocked it out of the park with this technology. We consume and write directly through that API because we knew that was coming down the pipe. Now, Veeam has a great relationship with VMware, and they're always optimizing for the VMware backup use case. We have a great relationship with Veeam, and we're always trying to keep up with what they're doing. So our tech is truly designed to solve the very explicit use case, what it sets out to do. And I think the unique thing about that is, you look at every other storage vendor out there, and they're trying to serve many masters at the end of the day. You have to be a primary storage target. You have to be sort of a generic storage target. You might have object storage, file block, like different options that you can write to. We are so targeted in what we're doing. It really gave us the luxury to just hone in and optimize on that VMware backup and recovery use case. So we're very fast for what we are. We're very secure for what we are. We're zero access. There's no backend or root access that our users can get any way to get into. So we really wanted to kind of create this simple ransomware-proof device that offers the level of performance you'd expect with something 5 to 10 times its actual cost.
Now, there's a lot of vendors that are sponsoring VMware Explore.
Yeah.
What would you say, you've talked about some of the unique features that you offer, but how are you going to make yourself stand out in the market?
So the coloring of our background, if it doesn't do it for you, everyone's got the blue these days. So we went purple and orange just to kind of stand out against the crowd. But if colors aren't the thing that attracts the eye, in all honesty, I think we're really trying to go hard on attracting those Veeam users because, in all honesty, if you're just a VMware user looking for storage for your ESX hosts, Object First Ootbi isn't it, right? Like we weren't designed for that use case, and it wouldn't be the right fit anyway. We're S3, but at the end of the day, that's not what we're built around. We truly are a backup storage target for Veeam, and we put that right on our header. So inside our booth, we have a big purple wall, and it just says the best storage for Veeam. That's a big attractor. We're also, we have some activities in our booth. There's going to be an Xbox. We're going to be giving away some really cool prizes. I think we're doing another Steam Deck, which was a hit at VeeamON this year. We got the Valve Index or the Valve Steam Deck, and we coated it with an orange vinyl, and people were just clamoring. I guess no one else is giving away cool little portable gaming Linux boxes. But we want to attract the individual who's going to be at VMware, the VMware event this year, who is super interested in making their backup as ransomware proof as humanly possible. We know not everyone there is going to be an Object First Ootbi customer, but we do want everyone to consider and think about the security of their backups. So we're trying to be very clear and explicit in our marketing and our messaging and what we say and show at the event that this is who we are. This is why you should think about us. And maybe if you don't need us directly, tell your fellow coworkers why they do. And it is truly all about ransomware proofing your backups.
Now, you talked, obviously we saw you guys at Veeam on. It was a great event, and you guys had a great booth at the show. And you already mentioned that you really kind of launched in February, but has there been any recent announcements that you might have made as a company that you can talk about?
So you said it. We launched in February, and let me tell you, I don't think I've ever been more busy in my life. We've been traveling the globe. We've been going to events everywhere, including I just came back from a 2-week trip in Europe, doing the Veeam on tour over there. We have no announcements, but that doesn't mean that we're not doing anything cool. We have launched V1 of our product. And the exciting thing for me, and I think the exciting thing for everyone at Object First, is all the conversations we've been having with people. Like, we are building our V2. We're building our roadmap for the future based on our new customers, our conversations we're having at events like this, where we can learn exactly what the market is asking for, what the backup admins, the storage admins, the VMware admins, what they need, what they're seeking in the next iteration of the thing that they buy. And while we have no announcements, I think the more exciting thing for us is us being able to gather that information to build towards the next announcement at the next event, whatever that be. But for us, we're just riding the V1 train, and we're trying to gather as much information as we can and get to talk to as many people as we can. So if you're there, do stop by and have a conversation with me, because I am listening and taking notes 24/7.
Well, and so VMware is going to be talking about the big picture on the keynote stage. What are some of the big themes and trends in 2023 and into 2024 that your company is focusing on?
Yeah, that's huge for us. I've said it numerous times already. I'm probably going to say it 18 more times in the call, so I apologize, but it's ransomware. It's awful. It's terrible. It's not going anywhere. We keep hearing about it. And I just came back from Veeam on in Munich, Germany. And now there is this new edict that many different IT practitioners and professionals there have to have some kind of on-prem immutable storage to qualify for insurance. And this is just the world we live in today. Even insurance providers are pushing for new technologies, more secure technologies to, I don't want to pay out because you didn't do due diligence when it comes to managing your backup infrastructure and keeping your environment secure. So, our big ticket item is going to continue to be ransomware, and ensuring that not just the IT wizard is ransomware resilient. You'll see when we get to the demo, what we've built is something that even the most green and new-faced IT practitioner can use. And that's by design. We stripped out a lot of the complexity and the bells and whistles and the toggles and the switches in favor of, let's just make this as optimal as it can be for the use case, and make it so anyone, regardless of skill set and expertise, can use our technology and be ransomware resilient. I know there's going to be a lot of announcements about AI and all kinds of cool new technologies with machine learning and large language models, which is super cool. But I would even argue even that is all data bound in the way that we evolve and iterate with that technology. And as soon as that data becomes corrupted, as soon as you lose access to that data, it doesn't matter how cool your compute is, your AI engine is useless without the data that's tied to it. So it always comes back to ransomware, even when it doesn't. Ensuring resiliency is the focus for me, it's the focus for Ratmir, it's the focus for our CEO, David Bennett. Like, we're all just laser focused on that and how we continue to keep our customers today and our future customers as ransomware proof as humanly possible.
Now, you've painted a great purple and orange picture for us, but maybe, like you said, could you show us a quick demo? It'd be great for the folks watching this video at home to see what everything looks like.
Yeah, I'd love to. Let me get into our lab and I'll show you exactly just how simple and easy to use our product is, but also why it is truly the immutable storage platform for everyone.
Perfect.
All right. So this is Object First Ootbi. Very simple. I'm going to say that word a dozen times, just like ransomware, throughout the demo, because again, this was really one of the targets we were focused on delivering. So when you land on our dashboard, the first thing you're greeted with is anything you'd need to know about the product itself. If you'd racked and stacked this and turned it on for the first time, it would actually prompt you to go into our S3 keys territory here, because like I said, we made this so regardless of expertise, regardless of knowledge of object storage, it's very simple and easy to use. So you land on our dashboard, you get a little bit of information. We're a single node. This node has 14 disks. There's 2 network switches. We currently have 5 S3 buckets, but let's talk about how this all works. So it's your first time. The UI says, hey, go into S3 keys. Well, in here, you can create an S3 key. And if you know, great. If you don't, an S3 key in object storage is simply just the username and password equivalent for object storage. So we can create a new key just as simple as typing in a name and clicking create. And once we've done that, we'll have these keys available for use for plugging into our Veeam backup repository or Veeam backup and recovery platform. To be able to view the secret access key, we do prompt for password. This is just one more way that we're ensuring the resiliency and sort of the ransomware awareness on our end. Let's say your password is compromised. Let's say the entire platform is compromised. The really cool thing about what we've built here, again, is because it's zero access, even if the attacker has your username, they have their password, they can see the key. The only thing they'd be able to do is delete the key. So long as there is immutable data over in our S3 buckets, they would not be able to come in and do any damage to that data itself. And this, again, is by design. We've removed all the administrative privilege and ability for you to set role-based access controls, set what you can and cannot delete. We've already set that for you. When you come in here, you've created your S3 key. We already have some buckets. Creating a new bucket is just as easy. Let me actually clear out this little logged thing here. We give you your criteria. We also select versioning by default. And versioning, just so you know, again, it's an object storage feature. This allows you to turn on object lock and enable that immutability. It's checked by default because, again, it's backup storage. It should be immutable by default, but we do give you the option to turn it off if you'd like. I highly advise against it unless you're doing some kind of test dev. So you can see here, we have a few buckets already, one of which is unversioned. I'm actually going to pop over to Veeam backup and replication in just a minute here to show you exactly how this all hooks in. But you've actually seen the entire demo at this point. This is all our product does. And again, it's by design. Everything we do was meant to be simple. Everything else you can see here on the left is just status and understanding. You can always get a little bit more information about what's going on inside our box at any time, see your speed, performance, monitor things. But truly, the product was designed to do 2 things: create S3 keys, create S3 buckets, hook into Veeam, and be the best storage possible for Veeam. So with that said, I'm going to pop over real quick to our Veeam backup and replication instance. And I've already got some backups created. But before we get into that, I'm just going to show you exactly how this all hooks in and really show you how the immutability is set from the Veeam user's perspective. So when you create a backup repository in Veeam, you're going to select the type that is direct to object storage, because that's what we are. From there, we're going to just double click into our immutability bucket. We're going to take a look at the settings in here. All you have to do is give it a name. You will type in the endpoint of the web UI, what we were just in. You'll also type in the S3 key, which we grabbed and created at the beginning of the demo. Everything else we just leave standard. It's going to go through and load. And this is the thing I always like to show within the Veeam user interface. So right now, our immutable bucket has make recent backups immutable for 14 days. If I uncheck this and click next, so let's say I'm a bad actor. I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna turn off your immutability, I'm gonna delete your backups. It's prevented. This is one way that we work hand in hand with Veeam. Because where our object lock is enabled, because versioning is turned on, you are not able to proceed with this operation as long as our bucket is immutable. You have to set an immutability window. And beyond that, let's say we change the time. We went from 14 days to 1 day because we're going to expire this simply today or overnight. It doesn't matter because the data that was written to our bucket was written with 14 days of immutability, which means that we would preserve the entirety of that backup chain for 14 days. So we don't let you proceed. Once the data is written, it is truly written. And I've had some conversations where they say, well, what if we fat finger this and it's 99 days and we limit it to do 30? That's a problem. We do have ways of working with you that involve actual verification of your human identity, not just with our support team, but with others as well who can verify you are who you say you are. The device is zero access. So there is no factory refresh or reset. There is no way to just go in, turn it off and say like, hey, if I take this thing out and put it back in, can we reset to green? No. And again, it's by design to really make sure that we ransomware proof even the least secure savvy person. So from here, I'm just going to go ahead and exit. if we go back to our backup view, we actually ran a backup just earlier today. I'll show that. It is our scale-out backup repository. And you can see here, just writing to a single node, we were actually able to achieve speeds of 2 gigabytes per second. That's pretty normal. On each of our nodes, we tout 1 gigabyte per second ingest speeds, but on an ideal network with 2 10 gig switches or 2 10 gig connections to our copper ports, you can get up to 2 gigabytes per second very easily. The entire ecosystem will scale linearly. So on a single node, you get 2. On a 4 node, you get 8. It's a very easy way to both increase your capacity as well as your performance. And if I come in here and I am the Veeam admin and I try to delete, let's see, let's look at one of our most recent backups here. So this was backed up 7/12, that's today. We come in here and we try and delete this from disk. It'll come through. It will begin the deletion operation, and it will fail. And it will give us the error because this backup data is immutable until the 9th of September, 2023. So it doesn't matter what level of permission or privilege, we never let you go in and delete that data. And the last thing I'll show as part of this demo is just going through a third-party browser. So this is Cloudberry Explorer. It's just a third-party S3 browser. Our Veeam folder in here. So this little window right here is just showing us inside of our Object First Ootbi appliance if we were to go through an S3 connection. So I just typed in my S3 keys and can get a typical file browser. If I just came into our backup here and tried to delete our immutable backup folder from this third-party thing, it still has the S3, so the secret key and access key. You'd think, again, with that information, I should be able to delete. But what you'll actually see here is it will enumerate the folder. And this is the first step of deletion through object storage, is it goes through and looks at what it can delete. It's going to sit at 0 until the 9th of September. And that is just where it's going to sit until it can actually expire and delete that data. Because again, immutability means it cannot be changed. And this is all by design on our end. And this is the demo. So I'll go ahead and just cancel that because I don't want it to spin and waste our compute resources. But that is Object First Ootbi. And again, it's designed to be simple, secure, and powerful, and explicitly built for Veeam and the VMware backup use case.
Anthony, that was a great demo, and certainly appreciate you guys joining us today. And I'll leave it with 2 words, I guess: ransomware and simplicity.
Yes.
I didn't want you to be the only one that got to say it on this call.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I looked crazy, but now we can share in the fun together.
So no, this was a great demo, and really enjoyed you talking about your technology. It's going to be something great that I think everybody who who's at VMware Explore should come by and check out. But before I let you go, why don't you give folks a quick, where's the best place to go if they want to check you out online or find out more about the things that you talked about today?
Absolutely. So my personal favorite, and I think for our more technical minded audience, is actually to our YouTube page. So if you go to YouTube, Object First, go to our account, we have a video series called Box to Backup, which myself and Matt Price have put together. It's great. We unbox the thing, we show the entire setup and configuration and everything you saw in the demo, plus a lot more. We talk about the hardware and the specs and kind of how it all fits together. And we still do it in like 15 minutes. So it's a 4-part video series done in 15 minutes, and it's an entire demo of our product. So if you want to learn more, that's the place to go. Otherwise, objectfirst.com, great resource for both partners, resellers, those who are interested in learning more about our product. That's a great place for all the business side of things.
Great. Well, again, appreciate your time, and hope you guys have a great VMware Explore event.
Thank you. You as well.